Taiwan, South Korea, and Singapore rose from poverty thanks to capitalism. These countries have developed first world market economies. Rwanda will soon join. It's one of the best examples of an impoverished, landlocked country overcoming catastrophe. In 1990, nobody foresaw Rwanda's success. The country's most skilled and educated inhabitants were slaughtered in an incomprehensible genocide. The country was full with refugees and poor. Landlocked, it was surrounded by unreliable neighbors like DRC and adversaries like Uganda. Rwanda has survived. Today, it's one of the least corrupt and most stable countries in Africa, ranking 49th on Transparency International's 2020 Corruption Perceptions Index. In the World Bank's latest Ease of Doing Business assessment, Rwanda rates higher than Switzerland and Japan. Rwanda's GDP growth mimics Asia's tiger economies. The country is now a model for similar situations. With free market policies and a stable government, countries may survive even amid catastrophic circumstances. Rwanda Holocaust. In April 1994, a civil conflict between the country's two main ethnic groups deteriorated into a genocide of 500,000 to 1 million Tutsis. 70% of Tutsis were killed. 500,000 women and children were raped, disfigured, or murdered. Also slaughtered were moderate Hutus. Tutsis from Uganda and Rwanda ended the slaughter in 1994. The Rwandan Patriotic Front pushed south from the north, ending the battle. After the genocide, the country's economy collapsed. World Bank. From 1990 to 1994, Rwanda's GDP decreased from $2.5 billion to $750 million. Due to conflict and genocide, 78% of the population was poor. Average Rwandan life expectancy is 28. The Rwandan Patriotic Front had to reconstruct the country's institutions and infrastructure after consolidating power in the 1990s. Vision, reconstruction, and recovery. Rwanda's post-genocide years were brutal and unstable. Genocide killed 10% of the population. 2 million refugees were displaced. Social trust and the economy have collapsed. The country lingered. Uncertainty lingered over whether the RPF would commit revenge killings. Rwandan refugees also triggered a conflict in Zaire. Second genocide ensued. Tutsi radicals slaughtered 235,000 Hutu refugees. Paul Kagame, the former head of the Rwandan Patriotic Front, won the presidency in 2000. Paul Kagame's election is Rwanda's turning moment. His commitment to detail would reverse corruption and make Rwanda business-friendly. Under his leadership, Rwanda will recreate and surpass its former successes. The Kagame-led administration set long-term goals in the early 2000s to restore Rwanda. Rwanda must become middle income by 2020. Current growth rates will reach this aim by 2021 or 2022. The government began implementing Vision 2020 in 2000. This plan led to Vision 2050 and the National Strategy for Transformation. Each plan implements global governance best practices. The government revised and streamlined laws and regulations to fulfill this aim. Infrastructure, business ease, education, and corruption reduction were priorities. Government long-term planning rarely works. Rwanda has one of the few successful government master plans. The country's economic progress has transformed in 2019. Since 2006, GDP per capita has expanded at a respectable rate. The economy grew 8.6% in 2018. Anecdotal indicators such as industrial and service sector growth and diversity, infrastructural development and urbanization, and access to healthcare and banking institutions have improved. Business-friendly. According to the World Bank's Ease of Doing Business measures, Rwanda has quickly risen to number 29 in the world. Rwanda's Ease of Doing Business score beats Japan and Switzerland. Paul Kagame, Rwanda's longtime president, wants Rwanda to become the Singapore of Africa. Rwanda ranks 32nd in the Economic Freedom Index, ahead of first world countries like France, Belgium, Italy, and Spain. Rwanda excels in property rights, government spending, healthcare, labor freedom, and jurisdictional effectiveness. Property rights are safeguarded and enforced. In 2018, the government launched an online property registry to establish and enforce property rights. The Heritage Foundation reports 30% personal and corporate tax rates. Other taxes include VAT and PTT. 15% of domestic income is taxed. Still, Rwanda's building of a knowledge-based middle-class economy faces major obstacles. Poverty, urban infrastructure/transportation limits, a limited private sector, over-reliance on agriculture, and trade obstacles are among them. Courts are backlogged and underfunded. Agriculture protectionist policies cause problems. How RDB facilitates business. The unification of government institutions into RDB has helped the country expand its economy. As part of its Vision 2020 reforms, Rwanda consolidated its economic development offices under the RDB, which serves as a one-stop shop for all commercial procedures. This consolidation helped Rwanda become a free market economy. The RDB was established in 2009 to oversee corporate rules, foreign investments, tourism promotion, environmental conservation, and development planning. Previously, miscellaneous government agencies performed these responsibilities. Consolidation increased efficiency and reduced conflicts. Rwanda's efforts to attract foreign investment and build its private sector focus on streamlining regulatory frameworks and administrative services through the RDB. The government has also built CESs across. CESs are business parks that offer exemptions from government rules, high-quality infrastructure, and utilities. You must go through the RDB to register a firm, get a visa or work permit, or apply for CES land. Developing CESs. CESs in Africa have often been a cautionary tale. Most African CESs are corrupt and wasteful. Mauritius' export processing zones and Morocco's Tangier Med-Free Zone are exceptions. Rwanda could become another success story. The 2011 CES law created a foundation for the formation of various zones in Rwanda. CES is located northeast of Kigali International Airport. The zone was completed in the summer of 2013. Prime Economic Zones, a Rwandan corporation, operates CES as a public-private collaboration. First phase of CES covers 98 hectares, 242 acres, and is inhabited by 97 enterprises with over 12,000 people. CES has many fascinating projects, including Carnegie Mellon's first Africa University campus. Customs-free entry, tax rebates, and RDB access are major benefits for zone tenants. The zone has good roads, electricity, fiber optic internet, clean water, sewage treatment, and fire services. CES's operator, Prime Economic Zones, treats its tenants like any other commercial lender. Security, infrastructure, and utilities are maintained. They work closely with the Rwanda Development Board to manage the zone by gathering data and reporting grievances in order to maximize government efficiency. Rwanda's CESs are competitive. In 2018, the CES statute was updated to reduce procedures and boost private investment. This law lets foreigners get 99-year leases. The RDB lowered tax incentives and refocused on permit streamlining. All zone compliance issues have a one-stop shop. Special tax treatment is granted to developers and tenants crucial to Rwanda's 2020 and 2024 economic ambitions. The CES is expanding to include another 178 hectares to improve Rwanda's ease of doing business, 440 acres. New CESs are planned throughout Rwanda to replicate the CES's infrastructure development and private sector growth. Invention Lab. Most Westerners perceive African development as textiles or food processing. Rwanda has attracted light manufacturing and is becoming Africa's IT hub. Recently, a Mara phones factory opened in Kigali. On October 7, 2019, Africa's first smartphone factory opened. A Mara Group company, it sources all of its resources from Africa and builds phones from motherboards to packaging. Many expected Mara Group to build in Johannesburg, Lagos, or Nairobi. Rwanda's CSES has Africa's first smartphone facility. Google and Oracle have already flooded Africa's biggest cities. Mara Group secured government support and a favorable jurisdiction by locating in the Kigali CSES. Volkswagen opening a plant in the CSES is a comparable success story. Volkswagen opened a $20 million facility in Rwanda in 2018. The plant can build 5,000 vehicles each year and employs 1,000. Volkswagen Mobility Solutions Rwanda is a VWSA subsidiary. VW aims to use Rwanda as a lab for its newest technology, not just for vehicle production and sales. VW Move, a ride-sharing app released by VW Rwanda, has over 20,000 downloads. VW is beta testing its app in Kigali to capitalize on Rwanda's status as an innovation hub. Kigali Innovation City is a 70-hectare project to boost the region's digital services competitiveness. Kigali Innovation City is an annex to the CSES that houses educational institutions to train Rwandan students and professionals. Carnegie Mellon University's new African campus debuted there in 2018. 300 students can pick a master's program in IT or EKI. Carnegie Mellon hopes to benefit from the Rwandan government's commitment to cutting-edge institutions, like Mara Phones and Volkswagen. Carnegie Mellon aims to use Rwanda as a hub for African business. Kigali Innovation City will cost $2 billion. Africa 50 has pledged $400 million. Kigali Innovation City ties into Vision 2020-2050 and the National Strategy for Transformation. CSES will house the Digital Innovation Precinct, a non-academic tech cluster focused on digital technology, ICT, and similar service-oriented fields. Bloodshed to blood donation. Rwanda uses drones to deliver blood and medical supplies to hospitals, another illustration of its private innovation culture. Rwanda's rural roads are poor. During the rainy season, travel is difficult. This raises issues for hospitals that need perishable medical supplies, such blood. Rwanda hired a California drone delivery firm, Zipline. A remote hospital's doctor calls one of Zipline's 2 blood banks if a patient needs blood. The blood bank will load a drone with the correct blood type and launch it using a slingshot. The drone will arrive at the hospital, drop the supplies via parachute, and return to the blood bank within 60 minutes. Rwanda used drones to transport medical supplies first. Every hospital in the country is covered by the initiative, and it has already saved hundreds of lives. Ghana hired Zipline to repeat the concept due to its success. Zipline is worth over $1.2 billion and can deliver 170 vaccines, blood products, and pharmaceuticals to 22 million people. Symbolically, the country has gone from a bloody genocide to a life-saving blood shipment program. Rwanda has gone from civil war and genocide to low-middle income in 20 years. It followed a path only seen in Taiwan, China, Singapore, South Korea, Chile, or the UAE. Rwanda has showed the world that Africa can have its own global leader by enacting corporate reforms and investing in infrastructure. Analysts dubbed Rwanda Africa's Singapore. This name gains importance daily.